to the September 26th, 2020 board meeting of Alvord Unified School District. Thank you so very much for joining us this evening. We have established a quorum. Everybody's here. Welcome board members, cabinet to the board. At this time, we are going to, at approximately 8:30 p.m., the Board of Education will determine which of the remaining agenda items can be considered and acted upon prior to 9 p.m. and may continue all other items on which additional time is required until a further meeting. All meetings are scheduled to end no later than 9 p.m. We are now going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and Mr. Robert Schwamp is going to lead us. Thank you. Robert's muted.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Muzzarino. Thank you.
My pleasure, Madam President.
Very nice.
Always a privilege and an honor.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Sorry about being muted there.
That's okay.
I stood in for you, Mr. Schwant.
I sounded real good to myself.
Dr. Muzzarino stepped in and did a beautiful job. Love it. Okay, at this time, we're going to go to public comments. As authorized by Governor Newsom's Executive Order N2920, dated March 17, 2020, the Alvord Unified School District will conduct all meetings of the governing board via teleconference until further notice. The meetings will be live streamed via YouTube. Pursuant to Executive Order N2920, the governing board will take public comment. All public comments must be submitted in writing in advance of the meeting. Please submit your written public comments to Superintendent at alvordschools.org no later than 9 a.m. on September 24th, 2020. During the governing board meeting, written public comments received in a timely manner will be read to the governing board. Pursuant to Board Bylaws 9323, public comments period will be limited to 20 minutes. Duplicate public comments will not be read to the board. However, all written comments will be provided to the board in advance of this meeting. So at this time, I'm going to ask Dr. Muzzarino, have we received any public comments?
We do not have any public comments, Madam President.
Okay, with that, thank you very much, Dr. Muzzarino. With that, we're going to close the public hearing session. And at this time, I just want to announce that we will be pulling two items from the agenda. One is a consent agenda item, it's 7B2, and we'll pull in another one is an action item, and it's 8B1. So those two will have been removed from the agenda, and we will go forward as of right now with the agenda. So we're going to go to board and superintendent comments, and we are going to start with Ms. Dorado, Dr. Dorado, excuse me.
Here, I wanted to go ahead and remove myself from mute. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
This evening, I actually wanted to start by bringing to light that it is Hispanic Heritage Month. We're officially in this month, and it's very important and dear to my heart to bring knowledge, awareness. I'm very passionate about ethnic studies and just learning diverse groups of people. So it is very important, especially where we're at today in our nation, to kind of just acknowledge diversity, other ethnic groups. So I wanted to start with that, and then kind of leave with, it is very much college season, college application season. So for all our seniors and parents that are out there, I just want you to know, whether we're distance learning, virtual learning, the model we're in right now, I know our counselors at the secondary level, Alvord, are working very hard to ensure that all our seniors are being supported, whether they're going to a private, Cal State, UC, community college, trade school, military, they're being supported during this fall season. So with that, I would want to say that the CSU university system, which represents 23 universities in our public university system in California, just announced earlier this week that they've appointed their first ever chancellor from Mexican American background. He's a native of California, And Dr. Castro, Joseph Castro, is a child of immigrant grandparents from Mexico and of single mother. So I just wanted to put that as a Hispanic Heritage Month and put it out there for our community. And to let just our families know that whether you're an English learner student or high school students, we know it's tough out there. We know virtual learning is difficult, but I want to extend my my support and acknowledgement that we are here for you, and we know it's difficult, but we still want to support you through this college season. And I'll end it with that.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Dorado. We'll go now to Ms. Vega.
Thank you, President Paulson. I do have two things. Hold on, I'm done. And I know Julie will probably mention this, so I'll keep it short for this, but Family Engagement had their webinar for assessments and pretty much how to help your child navigate that. I learned so much. I love being part of these webinars because I'm learning too with the parents and seeing how things have changed. And I really look forward to future webinars, and I've seen a couple of past ones, and I know they're doing really good. We get a lot of people on there, so I hope to see a lot of parents and students at the next one. And then another thing I wanted to bring up is I have a flyer here for an art scavenger hunt that is happening around the city, sponsored by the Art Alliance of the Riverside Art Museum. It actually starts today until 27th, but you still have time to register. So there's different murals and art around the city, and so it's kind of a fun way to get together with your family, like in a car, and just drive around the city and take selfies, show off that you're with the sculptures or the murals, and then there's also prizes to be won. So that'd be really fun. So if you want to sign up, you can go to riversideartmuseum.org/rivarthunt. Hopefully that makes sense. But that should be a fun activity, and you still have time to sign up, even though it started today. And I think that's it for me.
It's wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Vega. Mr. Schwan. Off, you're mute.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I've only got a couple of things, but meaningful ones to me that I want to make sure I shared with everybody. In the notes that we have on donations, it shows Kaiser Permanente Hospital donating 160 backpacks to Alvord Cares.
Yay!
What about Alvord Cares? Does anybody know about that?
I do.
But
Close to my heart. Close to my heart.
They're valued at $8,800, so pretty nice backpacks on what they're doing. But it highlighted to me Kaiser doing this for the backpacks, but they're really the leaders in our health academy in the community, and they do a lot for our students whenever it's needed. So congratulations and thank you to Kaiser, and I'm sure the students who got the 160 backpacks or however they're going to be dispersed. The other one, I wanted to highlight an employee, and it's Dusty. And Dusty can't see her face right now.
Dusty, come on camera. There she is.
Dusty, congratulations to you and your team for getting the bond renegotiated and redone. So that's a lot of money to Dusty and her team for doing it, but it means about $16 million to our property owners in our area that they will be getting back over the lifetime of the loan. So we won't see that in our financials from a district standpoint, but it's us looking after the people within our district the best we can. And Dusty, thank you for you and your team for making that happen. I think it was your first time you've done that, right? Yeah, good. And the other one is all of our employees are doing a great job getting into the distance learning, and virtual learning and hybrid learning and what we're all going on. And it's not just the teachers, it's the campus supervisors, it's the custodial support, it's the administrative support. But I have privy to seeing the teachers working all the time. And I'll tell you, the amount of hours it takes to plan a study for students, that when you can't really interact with them all the time, if you have 70 on the line at one time, you have to kind of keep it muted. but you got to make sure they're interacted and taught with. And teachers are doing a great job with that, and I want to thank them for the picking up a new way of teaching for most of our teachers right at this point, and it will be changing in the future as well. So we just need to support them the best we can, because they're the front line to our students who are most important in our district that we have to get to. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Schwandt. Well, I'm going to go before Julie because okay. And because she has to go last, so that's good. So Mr. Schwandt took my thunder about Kaiser Permanente, but thank you. I will share that with you. And again, thank you to Kaiser Permanente. And then also for my comments, I wanted to highlight this evening the food programs that are available to our Alvord family members. So starting tomorrow, all children 18 and younger can pick up meals for 7 days on Friday at all secondary sites. So just make sure that you guys go, pick up the food where it's there for you, it's waiting for you, so please pick up that food. And then also Alvord Cares is providing our weekend programs still. So please, if you need weekend meals, please contact your counselors or you can contact myself or Donna Webster, and we'll make sure that we get those meals out to you for the weekend as well. So you now have 7 days for food, and then you also have the weekends for food. So we are so excited to provide this to our Alvord families in need, and we are just so thrilled that we could do this for you. So we thank you very much, and please it's there waiting for you. So please come and take part in those two programs. Also, I wanted to invite everybody to go to the Lake Hills virtual PTO meeting on September 29th at 6 p.m. But then there's something special going on tomorrow night. This is my last one, and then we'll go to Julie, Miss Moreno. Tomorrow, Promenade PTO is having a Zoomathon. Yay, it's their first fundraiser, and so it's this Zoomathon, and it's so cute. You should see the list of things they're doing, and it's a sing-along participation, and a lot of the teachers are involved. It's so cute, and I'm so pleased that they asked myself and my daughter to be a part of it. We're going to be on from 7 to I think 7:10 or something like that, and I'm just going to say hello. But then I guess the real show is Kelsey. She's going to talk about her time in at Promenade, and then also going on to the DA's office here in Riverside. So she's very excited about doing that. And but the sing-along is going to be, I think, the hit. So if anybody has an extra couple minutes, please join in at 7 o'clock for PTO Zoomathon at Promenade. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Moreno for your board comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I have to tell you, your face lights up when you talk about Alvord Cares and you talk about our food programs and you talk about our kids. So I never get to be the last. And I have to tell you, now I know what everyone's talking about. It's hard to follow such amazing comments. You guys are good. And I always have like a little list to help remind me of all the wonderful things that I've got to participate or see throughout the district from last meeting to the next. And you guys are just checking off each and every single thing. This makes it hard towards the end, but definitely love the collaboration and continued support we get from Kaiser Permanente. Is definitely on my list. Our kids are so excited whenever our community partners join in to celebrate them and gift them such wonderful items. So it's a beautiful relationship that we formed with Kaiser, and I look forward to many years of continued support and partnership. That also leads me right into when we talk about community, and Lizette, you covered this as well, about our Family Engagement Center. The momentum that this department has had in such a small amount of time has just blown me away. This last week, both Ms. Vega and I sat into our family engagement webinar, and I walked away so much more knowledgeable than when I had walked in. And that's even knowing all that we get to know behind the scenes, right, Ms. Vega? So hearing the interactive portion that our families were able to actually ask questions and have them answered right then and there. As a parent first and foremost, always, that's a comfort. And in these times that we're experiencing right now, you need that connectivity to each other so that we can help one another get through these hard times. So I just want to congratulate Alejandro as well as Aaron, who gave an amazing webinar presentation to our families, which to watch over 130 participants, y'all, clocking in the evening to get connected. Yes, there have been some challenges in this era of COVID, but there's also been some tremendous blessing. And that is being able to connect at convenience for our families like we've never been able to do before, right? You can still cook dinner and listen and be a part of everything that's going on within the district. So I really am proud of the work that they're doing, and I'm looking forward to the next one. So please join us. And then that leads me into all of the wonderful things that, again, Ms. Wilson, you already covered with the promenade, thinking outside of the box. We had La Sierra Posse, the last board meeting, participate with community partners. There's just so many wonderful things that are happening. And to your point, Mr. Schwant, it takes a staff that's willing to go the extra mile to say, okay, so this is what we're used to. How can we make the connection? And they have just blown me away with their dedication and perseverance through the toughest of times to make it fun for kids. A sing-along, that is amazing. So I just want to thank our amazing staff, our campuses, the sanitation that's happening with our custodial staff, the way that they've embraced the trainings and getting things in place. My hat just goes off to every single one of our staff members across the district, our families who are willing to also embrace the change, and our students, the heroes, right? Our kids are the highlight, they're the apple of our eye. And to see them coming through and sending messages to me and saying, hey, Mrs. Marino, guess what we're doing? This is kind of awesome. I didn't think it would be like this. So seeing and hearing from them, who I always say are my bosses, right? My kids and their families. And to know that they're experiencing what could have been just the most difficult time of their lives, and the way that they have just built this resiliency and stepped up to the challenge in collaboration with our teachers and staff. We're ready. These kids are absolutely amazing, and they will change the world. So I'm going to stop because I get so excited talking about the kids. I never will be quiet. So I'm going to sign off now, but thank you to everyone. Without the effort of team and partnership, we can't do this. And I've never felt more a part of something great than I do now. So way to go, Alvord.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Marino. That's wonderful. And then Dr. Muzzarino.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm assuming I'm on. Everybody hear me?
You're on.
I want to congratulate Riverside County because we have moved from the purple widespread tier to the red tier as a county. Now, we're a big county, granted, but that's such a positive step. As I have reported in my weekly message, which I will update with all this information Sunday night at 6 p.m., so stay tuned for that. I'll talk more about it, but congratulations are in order because we have done this together as a community. We've been very diligent about our masking and about all of our hygiene efforts are paying off now. So that's something that I'm just very proud to be part of. As Trustee Moreno said, we're all in this together, and we are proving that. And anyone who doesn't think that it takes every single person contributing, well, I'm sorry to tell you, you're wrong, because that is exactly what it takes to fight a once-in-a-century pandemic, and we're doing it. So congratulations, Riverside County. And later on in our agenda, when we talk about our preparation efforts for reopening with Mr. Emenaker, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the next steps now that we are in this red tier. I also want to piggyback on the comments made regarding Kaiser. Kaiser, you just can't say enough about this organization. Think about what they're doing in this community, given the public health crisis, is unbelievable. Yet they still find time with their community outreach efforts. We have gotten backpacks from La Sierra University, from Kaiser, from Northgate. People want to help each other. That's what a community is. And when I think of us getting to this place where we are now finally being much more diligent about following best practices, it's all basically because we all want to get kids back at school, right? And that's been the mantra that's been most successful. Even those who may be a little more reluctant to participate in it or believe in the science, they're doing it for the kids. And you know what? If we all, as adults, think about doing what's right by children, we'll just be a much better society, because I think it gives us all perspective. So I'm just very proud to be part, as Trustee Moreno says, and Trustee Vega and Dorado and Schwant and Madam President Wilson said, we are all doing a lot of things here, a lot of resources being provided to our families as we identify those who certainly are faced with all kinds of challenges with unemployment and other things. So thank you to everyone who's participating, who's out there. On the foods, Alvord Cares has been providing weekend food. We don't tell anyone about it. We just we just do it. We've been providing 5 days worth of meals. Now we're going to be able to add 7 because of the new Grab and Go program that the state approved. We were instrumental in pushing for that. Our food director, Eric Holliday, has been wonderful with continuing to push this out. So now we are able to provide meals also from the most convenient site. Earlier on, we were restricted by virtue of the school that someone attended. So we have pushed to make it more convenient for our families. And as a result of that, we've increased the number of children who are getting their meals from us now. But we also need families to complete the applications for free and reduced price lunch, because there's a lot of other services that families get by virtue of them having that status. Plus, our funding is also tied into that. So it's critical that we're able to identify our families that have those additional needs, because there's a lot of other things that we're then able to provide. And the more we're able to provide, the more successful our children. The last thing we want our children to be worried about is eating or home security. We want them to focus on learning. And in some families, in some circumstances in this entire country, education is the least of their problems, right? So we want to make sure that we're able to do whatever we can as service providers to mitigate those while we are still under these conditions. And again, hopefully, if things continue to trend forward, which I'm cautiously optimistic, although I do need to add that the red tier is based on September 12th data. So all of the Labor Day data is not reflected in it. So I'm half full guy, so it's good. We're moving positively, but we have to be cautiously optimistic. So next week, and then the third week, because you have to be in the red tier for 2 weeks, we should have all the data, including Labor Day, which will give us a much better outlook of what's to come next. And then finally, so on the foods, just to close out on that, families now can pick up 7 days worth of meals.
So wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. Again, we're addressing, we've always talked about the pyramid, because that's how we look at educating children. As children have additional needs, they move up the pyramid, and the small top has the fewest kids who have the most needs, and we of course try to address those needs. But the pyramid that we've been dealing with the last 6 months has been Maslow's hierarchy. Remember that pyramid. Remember the bottom, it's basic needs, right? Food, shelter, love. So it's a whole different paradigm. We're looking at all of this from a very different perspective through the eyes of our children. So again, everyone, my entire team, all of our teachers, our staff, as Mr. Swan said, everyone contributed and with an incredibly positive attitude. I love what I hear. I love what I see when I'm out there every day. And I've written about it because I'm so proud of what we are doing. And finally, on the family engagement, this was something that really was not a reality in our organization, and we really started doing communication, much more communications, I should say, in the spring. We've always communicated well, but better, more effectively, additional social media platforms. We're getting hundreds of families coming to our webinars, and then many are watching it as a recording on YouTube afterwards. Then I send it out again on Sunday, and more people watch it. There's levels of engagement that we've never seen before. So this is going to have a significant impact when we do return to whatever normal will be. It's going to be a different normal, but it'll be certainly much more normal than what we are currently dealing with. But when we do, everything else being the same, the fact that we have this level of engagement, the fact that so many of our families have been absolutely incredible, learning, calling, asking questions, how do you do this, how do you do that, all of our staff who have turned into technology gurus. I've had secretaries and others who work in the offices who would do a variety of different things. Now all of a sudden, they've become very savvy, and they know exactly how to help a family get on, and they're walking them through. We have families who never turned on a computer, seriously. Now they can. Well, you talk about leveling a playing field, the digital divide, there's hope. The promise of technology may be realized, and that's something we've been talking about as educators for 30 years. When's it going to really change our industry? Because look at how many other industries have been dramatically changed. Education hasn't to the same degree. I think there's a chance now that it could be, and we're seeing it happen before our eyes. Not to mention the number of teachers now who are utilizing technology like they've never utilized it before. That's going to have a lasting impression, but more importantly, children and their families being connected. Now connected to the internet, that's a new world. Think about not having that world. We take it for granted, and our families now have that. So as you mentioned, Madam President, there are some silver linings, and we've been talking about that for 6 months because darn if we're going to just let this thing get the best of us. Okay, we're moving forward despite it. We're going to be better because of it, and you're seeing that happen every day. So with that, Madam President, we will talk a little bit later in the agenda when Mr. Emeneka presents on school safety, a little bit more about the red tier and what that means. And with that, I'll hand it back to you.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Miserino. Thank you for your comments. Thank you, board, for your comments as well. Very heartfelt, and it's a wonderful place to be right now as Alvord Unified School District. We're learning new things, and we really appreciate our teachers, our staff, our students, our parents, because we're all in this together. We've said that from day one. Since March 13th, we've been all in this together. So please, everybody, just take care, and just know we're here for you. Just like Ms. Vega said, we are all in this together, and we're here for you. Okay, with that, we're going to go on. We're going to go on to the consent agenda. And I'm going to ask for a motion for the consent agenda with the removal of item 7B2. So I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. Dr. Dorado. Aye. Ms. Vega.
Aye.
Ms. Marino.
Aye.
Mr. Schwant.
Aye.
And Mrs. Wilson is an aye. All right. Our next item on the agenda is action items taken in closed session, but there is no readouts from closed session this afternoon or this evening. So we will go on to the Board of Education and Superintendents. We have pulled this one, so 8B1 has been pulled. So we're going to go on to Administrative Services, 8C1, Ratification, Purchase, Ferguson, District-wide. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a first and a second. Is there discussion? Okay, with no discussion, we'll go to Dr. Dorado.
Aye.
Ms. Vega,
Aye.
Ms. Marino,
Aye.
Mr. Schwann,
Aye.
and Mrs. Wilson is an aye. All right, we're going to go on to 8C2, approve agreement, New Dimensions General Construction District-wide. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there a discussion?
No, I just want to say, these water bottle filling stations for our district is going to be great for our students. I think. I remember the first time I used one was, I think, at UCR, and I was like, oh, what is this? Like, I've never had just for my water bottles. So I know that now students are going to be able to take, their water bottles and just fill them at the school, no more water fountain, or they don't want to use that. So I think this is great.
It also is such a great safety measure in the era of COVID, and when we are able to come back to school, it's nice to know that our students will have the hygienic way to fill up a water bottle. It's filtered water. I just really am proud that this was something we looked at.
And then I would like to add that I did get a few emails on my earlier career as a board member regarding this particular item, so I'm really glad to see it through today.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much. All right, without any further discussion, we'll go to a vote. Dr. Dorado?
Aye.
Ms. Vega?
Aye.
Ms. Marino?
Aye.
Mr. Schwann?
Aye.
And Mrs. Wilson is an aye. Okay, now we're going to go to item 8D1, Renew Agreement, California Consulting, Inc., Grant Writing Services. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any discussion?
Yes. Oh, Robert,
Go ahead.
I'll let you go first.
Okay, Mr.
Well,
Schwann.
just a quick discussion that we've had in the past has to deal with trying to get our district elevated and the opportunity to take advantage of grants that are out there. And we hired California Consulting to do that. And they've provided a couple of small opportunities for us. But I personally would like to see more and a larger funnel of opportunities come in. So this particular contract or amendment still keeps us on a month-to-month basis. So if we don't like what we're seeing in the future, it won't be hard to stop it. But I think we've invested time and effort to get them engaged in what we want, who we are, that it might be worthwhile to keep this going. And so that's why I'm in favor of it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Schwann. Dr. Dorado.
Thank you, President Wilson. So just to echo a sentiment from Board Member Schwann, I also had, I wanted to get updates on this particular item just because we did commit back in March of the previous, not this March, but the previous school year. And I was interested in hearing what exactly they had provided as grants. So I just want the audience to know that we are doing our due diligence to make sure they're collaborating, and we'd like to see more grants. And I just wanted to express that this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Dorado. Any other discussion? Okay, with that, we'll go to a vote. Dr. Dorado.
Aye.
Ms. Vega.
Aye.
Mr. Schwann.
Aye.
Ms. Marino.
No.
And Mrs. Wilson is a no. Okay, with that, we're going to go on to Educational Services. 8E1, we're going to conduct a public hearing regarding efficiency of materials for fiscal year 2020-2021 pursuant to Education Code 60119. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second? I think I have a first and a second and a third, so that's good. That's good. Okay. I need a vote, please. Dr. Dorado?
Aye.
Ms. Vega?
Aye.
Mrs. Marino?
Aye.
Mr. Schwann?
Aye.
And Mrs. Wilson is an aye. Okay, at this time, we're going to open the public comment hearing. Dr. Muzzarino, do we have any public comments that have come through?
We do not, Madam President.
Okay, well, thank you very much. With that, at this time, we're going to close the public hearing session, and I need a motion to close the public hearing session, please.
So moved.
So moved.
I have a first and a second. And with that, we'll go to a vote. Dr. Dorado?
Aye.
Ms. Vega?
Aye.
Ms. Marino?
Aye.
Mr. Schwann?
Aye.
And Ms. Wilson is an aye. Okay, with that, we are going to close the public comment. We're going to now go to the adoption of the resolution number 23, resolution of the instruction materials compliance of fiscal year 2020-21 pursuant to Education Code 60119 in compliance with the Williams versus State of California class action suit statement. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
And is there any discussion? Okay, with that, we will go to a vote. Dr. Dorado?
Aye.
Ms. Vega?
Aye.
Ms. Marino?
Aye.
Mr. Schwann?
Aye.
And Mrs. Wilson is an aye. Okay. We're going to go to 8E3, adoption of learning continuity and attendance plan. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Is there any discussion? Okay, with that, we're going to go to a vote, please. Dr. Dorado?
Aye.
Ms. Vega?
Aye.
Ms. Marino?
Aye.
Mr. Schwann?
Aye.
Ms. Wilson is an aye. Okay. 8F1, approved personnel order number 04-2020-2021.
Ms. President,
Okay,
Can I
I
make
was
a
waiting
change?
for it.
Okay. page 43
Okay.
for a separate vote.
Okay, so we're going to pull page 43 for a separate vote. So at this time, we're going to need a motion to do the personnel item with the pulling of item 43 or page 43.
So moved.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, with that, we will make a vote. Dr. Dorado,
Aye.
Ms. Vega,
Aye.
Mrs. Marino,
Aye.
Mr. Schwann,
Aye.
aye, and Ms. Wilson, aye. Okay, and now what we will do is that we will approve the personnel order 04-2020-21 with page 43 only. A motion, please.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, and we will have a vote. Dr. Dorado,
Aye.
Ms. Vega,
Aye.
Mrs. Marino,
Aye.
Mr. Schwann,
Abstain.
there you go, and Ms. Wilson, and I. Okay, believe it or not, we have finished with the action items this evening, and we are going to go into the discussion of information items. Board of Education, Riverside County Office of Education Williams Act, Settlements 2019 to 2020, third and fourth quarter reports. Dr. Muzzarino.
Yes, only to report that we have met all the requirements, and they relate to facilities, textbook, and instructional materials. On teacher assignments, as we noted on the agenda, trustees, that process is not completed due to COVID. That's not just for us. That's just in general the delay as a result of the pandemic. And we're looking at the spring to update that. But short of that, we have met all the requirements. Happy to report.
It's wonderful, wonderful news. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Muzzarino. We're going to go now to 9B, Administrative Services, 9B1, District-wide Facilities Reports and Safety Measures Update. Mr. Emenaker, there you are.
Yes.
We're waiting patiently for this one. All the board members
Oh, yes,
cannot
I
wait.
know.
Yes, we are. We're very excited about this report.
Thank
So
you.
take it
Thank
away.
you, Madam President,
welcome.
board members, cabinets, and audience. So tonight I'm going to share our facilities report, which will also include, like Dr. Muzzarino said earlier, a safety measures update on our schools. And I'm going to share my screen. And I think I'm getting good at this.
Yeah.
Everybody
Wow.
see it? Okay. So this is the facilities report. And this kind of will not just do the last month or two. This will do almost a recap of our last year. So here we are. We have this. So we have a recap of our facility projects. We'll have before and after photos or funding, and really an overview by site of all the projects. I think it's all of them. There might be a few that we missed, but at our various school sites by site. And then we'll do our typical sneak peek at what might be coming in the next month or two. And I'll go over our facility grant updates and our work orders by site for 2018 and then the 2019-20. So you have some comparison and see how we are progressing with all our work orders. And then lastly, we'll finish up with our reopening school safety measures update. And so our first project we're going to talk about tonight is the Arizona Middle School boys locker room lockers. And so here's some before pictures that show the condition of the lockers before the project. And so this was a 6-week project, just approximately $72,000 paid out of our Community Facilities District, or CFD. And this was approved back in February, but was not started or completed until June and August because of the COVID delay in production of the lockers. And so here's some more before pictures, and so you can kind of get an idea. And then voila.
Oh, look how beautiful they are.
They are. So we did have to do a little bit of extension on our concrete curbs to get a little bit more lockers in there. And so you can see they all look nice and uniform.
Oh, they're beautiful. Beautiful, Kevin.
And we do have some handicap accessible lockers as well. And then, so the next one is also Arizona Middle School. This was the asphalt in the blacktop. And so here's some before pictures. And I could probably show you 20 before pictures, but they all pretty much look very similar to this, where the asphalt was in poor condition. And so here we have the new asphalt. And so you can actually see lines and numbers and yes.
They actually know where to sit for PE.
They actually know where they sit. And
yes.
So
Wonderful.
kind of a funny story. I ran into a neighbor of one of these homes. I don't know which one it was, but he saw my badge and he said, "Oh, do you know what they're doing in the backfield for the Arizona Middle School?" And I said, "Oh, they're doing the asphalt." And he says, "Oh my gosh." He said it was in dire need. So, so we're very happy with the.
They had no idea who they were talking to. That's
awesome. Right. Just so happened to
run
into them at the sandwich shop, So
that's wonderful.
And here's another Arizona project. And so this was, when we did look at the asphalt, the other thing we looked at was all the volleyball and the basketball and poles and the backboards and the rims and everything were just really in bad shape. And so it made sense to get that project done at the same time that we had the asphalt door torn up. And so here they are.
Wow.
Fiberglass
backboards. Wow.
Fiberglass backboards.
Wow.
These are breakaway rims. So I have gone out there and done a few slam dunks and yeah.
Okay, they should have put that on video, Kev. That should have been on
where's
video.
the chair? Where's the chair you used?
Yeah.
Photoshop does some wonderful things, So, yeah, and so this bottom picture, you can see it actually. This is before the lines were painted, and so, but yeah, so you can the campus really changed by that back area. I know the PE coach out there will be very excited. So
nice.
The next one, this was this is at La Sierra High School, and so nothing really too fancy or anything like that, but this was a major problem in our library where we had numerous leaks. And so the cause of those leaks were the air conditioner condensing lines at some point had been stolen. And so we had to replace those. And then that's kind of what it looks like. Nothing too fancy or anything, but also the ductwork, a number of these ductworks that looked to have been someone walking on them and, and jumping on them. And so it did create some gaps. And so rain was able to get into the area. And so here's the before or the after picture.
Wow.
And so all shiny and new and all sealed up and everything. So
Very
That's
nice.
great.
then we're moving on to Norto Vista High School. And Norto Vista High School, as you know, a couple of years ago, they started the auto shop program. And
Right.
so one of the major needs that they needed was some area where they could utilize their portable lifts, auto lifts. And so this used to be asphalt and very uneven, and so it really wasn't safe for them to utilize those lifts on the current asphalt. And so we went in there, ripped out all the asphalt, and put in new concrete.
Voila, beautiful.
So when the kids do return back, they will be able to utilize this area for lifting the vehicles and not have to worry about being uneven. So,
I'm sure David's thrilled to see that.
I haven't received an email, so I don't know if he has seen it yet.
Oh,
but,
you will. I'm sure he will. He will jump for joy. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
that's all right. Yeah,
I
maybe
love
he's
that.
out there watching this. He's like, oh, they did it. Great. Next one, Zach Erb Stadium. And so this is the scoreboard. And so many of you that have gone to the football games, you might have noticed some of the panels not working. And then there was some glitches and things that would happen always at the crucial time in the football games. And so, we looked at and voila.
Wow.
We got a new scoreboard, and
That's beautiful.
very great system, and so we got the Zachary Stadium
Wonderful.
up there, and so
You need
when
to take
we
a picture
do-
of that and send
Yes.
us that.
yes,
It's beautiful.
so when we do have the football season, which hopefully will be later this winter, then you'll get to see that in action. And I'm not going to go through and read all of these, but for all the school sites, we have a number of projects that we just wanted to highlight. And again, it's probably not all of the projects. There's probably some that we missed, but they're just you can see.
What a good
I think we have 4 pages of
It's wonderful.
these items. So
It's wonderful, Kevin. You guys have done an amazing job.
Yes, and even some at our Central Nutrition Services or KPC office, the Alvord Stadium, we saw the scoreboard. And then we get to our sneak peek. And this is some of our projects that we're going to be seeing in the near future. And I don't know anything about this McAuliffe new playground equipment, but I keep hearing about it. From
And we wonder
from a little-
from
from a little-
who.
Yeah,
We
there's this
wonder
little
from
girl
who.
that's looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And then the Arizona Middle School. So we'll be doing the girls' locker rooms as well. They're not as bad a shape as the boys, but we will be working on those. And then last year we have a weight room and a resurface of our tennis courts. And so if you remember
Much needed.
early in the year, we did the Norto Vista tennis courts, and they came out really nice. And then our district-wide drinking fountains with
Yay.
water bottle fillers that was approved earlier tonight. So that we're excited about that. And then we get to our grants, and so these 3 particular grant projects, Foothill, McAuliffe, and La Sierra, are projects that we submitted the applications, and although we were approved on the SAB meeting last February, it was awaiting for statewide bond sales. And so happy to report that last week the state went out and sold bonds, and we were very successful as a state to sell enough bonds that we believe that these projects will be included in a fund release, and the district could be seeing these money, the $5 million, as soon as Thanksgiving. So
Wow.
we're excited about that. Yes.
Congratulations for
Thank
receiving
you.
those bonds, and thank you for putting the work into to putting those forward. It's wonderful.
Yes. And then we can move on to the work order system. And so here's kind of a snapshot of our work orders for 2018-19 year. And this is overview. And so we have the work orders received by school, the work orders completed, and then the work orders that were still active. And so I will tell you, basically, this is just a mathematical equation. This 29, could be work orders that were from the previous year carried over. But we wanted to try to keep track of it this way. So when we look at the next year, we can kind of see where things end up. So as a district, as a total, work orders received just over 7,400, work orders completed just over 6,600, and then we have, of course, the leftovers at 788.
Kevin,
And then we get yeah.
why do you think Norto Vista is so high in the orders, the work orders?
Because I have to say, when you put a work order in, there's a number of ways that you can put it in, right? So some schools might put a work order in to, let's say, that says change out light fixtures in all the classrooms in building 100, right? Norto Vista might put the work order in as change the light bulbs in room 100, and then another work order, change the light bulbs in 101 and change the light bulbs in 102. So they all kind of say the same thing, but the way that they get inputted is from what I could tell when I review it, it looks like that's what a lot of it is. I will say too, Norto Vista, they're a little bit more apt, they're more user on the work order system. They're just, where some school sites might just right away pick up the phone, text somebody, call somebody, and the work order doesn't always get submitted. And so those are probably the two main reasons why something like that might happen. Norto Vista is one of our oldest schools in the district, and so I will tell you that like the 71 that are carried over, those ones that probably have been in the system for a number of years, and they probably, a lot of them are around painting, painting the school. And so it is on the list, hopefully to get done this year. I didn't want to put on the sneak peek yet because I haven't received the proposals yet. So I want to make sure I have the funds for that to do that project, because painting a high school is a very labor and material intensive project. So, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed and very optimistic that we'll get that done this year. And next we have, so then we move on to the next year. And so this first column is that carryover, what was, on our previous spreadsheet, and then the work orders received, completed, and then the work orders that are still active. And so if you want to look at Norto Vista, 20 remaining, you can
Pretty
see,
low.
so they, received 676 and they closed 727 work orders. And so, so big difference there. And then when you look at the total numbers, 5,600 versus the previous year, 7,400, 5,400 versus the 6,600. That's really attributed to the the closing that March, because at that point the work orders pretty much stopped. So they really, it's just because we had 3/4 of the year accounted, and so, but yeah, that's where we are with the work order system.
Wonderful.
And then before we get onto this safety measure, is there any questions on the facility update part before I get into the safety measure? Because I know this is probably the big one that everybody's been waiting on. So I always get excited about this. And so back in July, I presented to the board, I think it was July, maybe it was June. It was sometime in the summertime, presented our plan on reopening our school safely. And so showed a number of slides and talked about things. I think some of the folks out there thought that they saw a picture of it. It was something that existed. And so it was kind of a lot of it that was conceptual. Some of it was photoshopped and things. So so now I'm going to go into where we really truly are with a number of these things. And so with our desks and our separation for, from TK to 12. And so majority of our classrooms are there. I have an estimated completion of October 1st. I say that just because we have a number of situations in our secondary where some of the rooms might need to have 19 desks or 20 desks, just because of if we do go, back to if we pivot back, it's just the class sizes aren't in nice, neat packages. And so in the next couple of days, I am meeting with those secondary principals to go through and visit those classrooms to review. So next one, this picture kind of had a lot of things on it. So we had the paper towel dispensers, the hands-free. Happy to report that that's been complete. The hand sanitizer in all the classrooms, that's complete. We disabled all the mouth to spout drinking fountains, and that's been complete. And then of course tonight we talked about our water bottle filling stations. We say December 31st, but it might be sooner. That's when they have to be done, because of the CARES funding requirements. So, and protection barrier for our student desks. Again, we're like 95% complete. There's just a few stragglers that we're dealing with out there. And this one here, we have our secondary students. So I was able to locate. I think this person is an 8th grader, and this one's like a 9th grader.
Where'd you go to get these models?
I know.
Yeah,
Wow.
So, anyways, they're sporting, and what they're carrying here is those student barriers, right? Like those student desk shields. Mm-hmm. And so, just to kind of give you an idea, one of the things that we are thinking about is for secondary, at least, is having them carry their shields with them, because it really is not. There's not enough time to do the full disinfecting between classes, and so, whereas elementary, the kids are all assigned to a desk, they're all assigned to, the desk shield, and they get cleaned that night. With the secondary, it's just not possible. So it's just an option that we're thinking of, and I think this person here just really wanted to be in the PowerPoint, and so.
And I like the backpacks. Those are Alvord Care backpacks. I know it.
Yes, these are a couple of our Alvord Care students. Yes.
I love it. It's awesome. Makes me giggle.
And then the protection barriers in our staff lounge. And so they're basically the same product. And again, we're looking at the October 1st completion there. Our teacher barriers, protection barriers. And so that was one of those things where we had a conceptual picture, had a kind of a black frame, this is the actual barriers, what they look like. They're more of aluminum base. And so you can kind of see, probably in this picture, you can see it better than this one because it is so clear and see-through. And so,
and they're not rollers, Kevin. They just roll with the.
They do have wheels, and they do lock. They have locking wheels. So, yeah, and so although these two show like they're together, they're really two separate one. So, if they wanted to, they could have, one on one side of the classroom, one on the other. That way they're not having to actually physically roll them. And I have an October 15th date on there on that completion. And then the next one is our privacy. So we have some our privacy barriers primarily used for our quarantine room if we need to do that. And so it is still see-through, but it is kind of a frosted, and so gives a little bit of a privacy screen to that.
Okay.
So protection barriers at multiple spaces. And, this is something that we're kind of doing as needed. And so all the front offices, I'm happy to report, those have all been, at the reception desk, reception counters, those were all done. We've pretty much completed all the ones for the health clerks, and we're moving into some of the other office spaces and things. So that project, I'm just going to say, is just completed as needed, because as we come up to a situation, then we get it taken care of. Try to get it taken care of within a week. So we have all the materials and everything in place, so we're good there.
Great.
Next one, these are those teacher clear partitions. They still have the little film on them that we remove, but here's where we could use those same barriers for the in the multi-purpose room for lunch, the lunch tables, right? So by placing them in between the table allows, to fit a couple more extra students, actually 4 extra students at a table. And so, at an elementary school, I think this was Promenade or McAuliffe, one of the two, I forget, Colette, one of them. And with that, by being able to add that to there, we are pretty much able to fit almost all the students, with the 50%, all the students in the NPR for lunch to eat inside. So, so that was a great find. We have a November 1st because we are those are in the process of being manufactured or made, and so we'll have those in place by then.
Kevin,
Yes.
that November 1st date is close to the November 2nd date we talked about earlier. What happens if we don't have those, that they're not up? Can we still?
So what would happen as a default? And let's say the date was October 20th or something that we wanted to start school. It doesn't necessarily be November 2nd, but we have the student carols, and so we could utilize those, for the students. And so we could have those kind of placed around the student to give that added protection. We probably would be 2 less students per table in that type of scenario. And so there might be some students that'll have to maybe eat outdoors under a covered area, which is a possibility as well. So.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I wouldn't consider it because we don't have these, we can't open school. I think it's just, we can work around that. Our signage, and so these are the number of signs, and I'm sure if you've gone to school sites, you've seen these, taped to the doors and everything. And so those are up, and these are just a few of the signs that you might come across. A couple of signs that you haven't seen yet are one-way, maintain social distance, and then our please wait here signs. And those signs, we do have those in stock, and they're not at the school sites yet because they are decals. They do stick on the ground. We don't want to put them up too soon because they're not meant to last forever. And so if the decision was in November 2nd, like you talked about, Mr. Schwant, then it would probably be something that we would start that process around October 15th to get those in place. And for each school site, here's a picture, and I don't know if you can see it very well, of a sample signage plan that is being developed for each school site. And so this is our Lansdale Elementary. The blue dots you see here are all located where we have buildings or rooms that have a in and an out, or to have dual doors into the space. And so in a classroom with just one door, you obviously can't have a one way. So in this, we identify all the buildings on the site. Here we have some stairs going to the two-story. So kind of a general idea of where all the one-way signs are, and that's the blue dots. And then this one here, we have a little green dot on this one. So this shows where the green dots, and these are where your kind of your wait here type locations. And so with the MPRs, we have that with coming into the school at the gate, the admin office, another gate for our kindergarten, and then where our lineups. So most of our elementary schools, they line up, before school, they line up right there in the black top. And so it'd be something we'd want to put in place at this location. And so to remind them, this may or may not be all the dots that we would put up. And it's just because of the scale, we just, but it just kind of gives it'll give the principals, the custodians, some idea of where to place these decals as they show up at their school. Our daily home screening for students. And so we're really, it's really important that our students get that screening done while they're at home before they come to school. We don't want to have any children showing up to school with a high temperature or a sore throat or any of these other items that are on this checklist of possible symptoms. And so to help with the spread, to minimize the spread, we're going to be asking parents to do this daily and check. And so doesn't take a lot of time, but it'll save a lot of issues if they do show up to school and they do exhibit any of these symptoms. And so temperature checks. So we have our thermometers are at the school. That's what the complete is. And so 25 at the secondary and 15 at our elementary schools. And so those are all there. And temperature checks will be taken for all the adults, the staff, and the visitors. And so we're looking at doing that. Our Clorox 360, and Ms. Moreno, you mentioned about the Clorox 360 and our custodial staff, and yes, they all are doing a wonderful job out there disinfecting the rooms that are being used, the offices, and so I think it's making a big impact on the health of our staff. And so we do have those completed. We do have 2 at each of our secondary high schools, and then 1 for each of our elementary schools and other middle schools. And so, and that's again daily that disinfecting is happening. Our buses and our school buses, and so our first student is eager to work with us and get started to start busing students whenever we're ready. I do have a meeting with them in the next week or so. We're going to talk really about particulars on how students will be boarding on there. Just for your knowledge, so a typical large bus has 28 seats in it. And so if we were to have 1 student at every seat, then it would basically hold 28 students. And so we're not exactly sure yet until we know how many students are going to ride the bus, and then with that 50-50 model, how many are actually going to be on the bus. And so if there's 14, then there would basically be an empty seat behind them and in front of them. And so anywhere between the 14 and 28 will determine how that seating is going to look. Face coverings is going to be required. They are going to do the sanitizing, for between the routes and everything. I think there was some talk about having windows open, but I will say that our buses are new buses that just came in last spring, haven't been used yet. They are equipped with air conditioning, and so that was a requirement that we put in this last time we went to bid. And so First Student did purchase new buses for us for that purpose, and so we'll have the good ventilation in there, which will be nice. Indoor air quality for our classrooms, and so I believe that this is actually going to be completed tomorrow. I think we had just a few more classrooms to do. We're waiting on some filters to come in, and so all the filters have been changed out. And so this year we did implement a checklist, and so here's kind of a sample. Lake Hills Elementary shows us the room, the filter size, the date that it was changed, and then by whom. And so this is done for every school, and we have the filter change log, and so we can always refer to that to make sure that filters are being changed, and if there's an issue, then we could go back and refer to it. But also lets us know what filter sizes are out there, and so when we are ready to place an order, it makes it really a lot easier to get that done. And the other part of our indoor air quality is our portable air conditioner units, and so we have these. We have 150 of these. In the event that air conditioning system is going to be down for an extended period of time, we have these to put in place because with COVID, it's very important that we have airflow, and we definitely don't want any situation where the rooms are getting stagnant and not getting that airflow. The other part of that is making sure that air is fresh, right? And so we have what we call the air scrubbers. And so here you can see it here. I had to have it circled because when I first got this picture, I really couldn't find it. It was just kind of blended in this classroom. And so this is pretty much what it looks like. There is a piece that goes on top of this that blows the air out in 3 different directions. And so I'm going to say the bad air gets sucked into the bottom and then runs through 2 filters and then gets distributed out to the classroom. And so in a classroom, that air will get filtered out about 5 times every hour. And so every hour, less than 15 minutes, you're getting fresh air in that room. And so you can't ask for anything better than that. That's, that is something that a lot of school districts are jealous that we are putting in place. And I'm really excited that we were able to set aside the CARES Act funds for that project. So the other part is, of course, the PPE. And so here's kind of all the list of items that we have for PPE. This is all our consumable PPE items. And so I won't go into all of them, but most importantly is to say that we have them all. They're all in our inventory. And so we have enough to open school, to do whatever we need to do there. And our guidance documents. And so I've only listed 3 guidance documents on here. Of course, the CDE, our California Department of Public Health guidance, and then our Center for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC. And there's one other one that's not listed here that actually just got reissued, I think the 22nd, so a couple of days ago, and that was the Riverside County Public Health guidance. So it'll be something that I'll be reviewing and seeing if we need to make any adjustments to our plan here moving forward. And with that, that is all I have, I think.
Well, I think that's our words to you. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
No, that was wonderful. It's a wonderful thank you for all your work. I know you guys have been working very hard on this, and since March 13th. I know that it started the day we closed schools. I know that. So
Yes.
that was an incredible presentation. Thank you.
All right.
Does anybody else have any comments?
I echo everything that you said, and it's really reassuring to our families and our staff. I hope that in seeing this presentation and presentations that we've had previously, that they are reassured at the fact that we never stopped working, as you said, Karen, and our staff has been working double time in facilities. So thank you for your leadership, as well as all of your team's hard work to making sure that we are safe and at ease. So great job.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
For myself, I wanted to mention this leadership under Mr. Enemaker would have, I'm so impressed. I'm at awe after that presentation, and can truly say I know for a fact there's surrounding districts right now that are complete envy of what was just presented, especially just looking at the category that was just presented for our county. So I'm very proud of your work and everybody obviously that had a hand in this, setting that up. And I like that you presented today it wasn't just a what could be, is like, these are final dates, these are deadlines. I really appreciate that update as a board member. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dorado.
I want to say thank you too. I know the students and everyone's kind of ready to go back, and it's gonna look different, but I like how it's gonna look. I like the direction that we're going and everything, all the work that your team has done to make this happen. So again, echoing what everyone said, and then just thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Kevin.
I can just say something really quick. I
Sure.
hear a lot about my team and everything, and so I want to kind of share. There's really 4 managers in my department that have really had to step outside their normal duties, and so I have Ralph Duran, who's our maintenance manager, really had to come up with some ideas on the filter changing, and for example, and Andy Cruz, our operations manager. He's kind of been the custodian, but he's had to figure out all the PPE and categorizing and all the shields and everything. And then I have Adana Calderon, who's been overseeing all the moving of the desk and getting the air scrubbers, in place, and the rolling barriers, assembled. And so overseeing that project has been a big project, and so I just want to thank them. So.
Well, thank them on behalf of the Board of Education as well, Kevin.
Okay.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to go to item 10. It's agenda items for future board meetings. And at this time, I'm going to ask if any of the board members have any future items they would like to place on the October 8th board meeting, for discussion.
Yes, so before I go on with that, I just wanted to say that we did add this new item on here, the agenda items for future board meetings, just to give board members an opportunity to, to bring items to board meetings, to have it here in public session, make it known, be transparent. And I know this is common practice for a lot of districts and even Espanol City Council, so I just wanted to add that on here. And as for my item that I want to bring for our next board meeting is, let me get my notes here, to discuss policies or the process that it would take to change the school mascots.
Okay. All right. Is that it, Ms. Vega?
That's it for me.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. And is there anybody else that would like to place an item on the agenda for next board meeting?
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and speak next. And it's understandable. I know that we also highlight our schools. So just for the record, President Wilson, if this item cannot be scheduled for discussion or more information for next board meeting, I'm happy to have this discussion be brought in a nearby future.
Okay.
So at this point, I would like to present my item that I'd like further discussion. So in light of Hispanic Heritage Month and our a new position that we put together for the school year, the Director to Equity and Access. In light of those two items, I wanted to bring for discussion the possibility of incorporating more ethnic study classes in other subject areas. So I did get an update from Ms. Georgina regarding, an implementation of a pilot program and avid classes with ethnic studies. But with our virtual world, I do want to express a sentiment that we as board members, educators, we're able to preview multiple board meetings, from just an access of our home. And that's been kind of like a highlight here at home. I have a home of educators. So we, on our free time, we go and watch other board meetings. So I know AUSD recently proposed they shared something similar regarding bringing forward a item that discusses diversity studies. And they're planning on rolling something out. So I would just like to take the moment to discuss that and have it as an item for our community to hear too.
Thank you very much. We will add that to the agenda. All right, thank you, thank you. Okay, is there anybody else that would like to add something to the agenda? No? Okay, at that time, thank you very much, Ms. Vega, for bringing this to the Board of Education. Oh, and our agenda. I'm sorry. Hello, Dr. Miserino.
Why, hello there.
Hello, I'm so sorry.
Not necessarily for discussion at a future board meeting, but just that at our next regular meeting of the Board of Education on the 8th, I would expect we would start the discussions about next steps regarding the reopening of our schools for in-person instruction on the hybrid model. I didn't get an opportunity there to comment on Kevin's presentation, but just briefly, what's important for everyone to recognize is we've never stopped this work. We had this on the agenda before we knew we were switching tiers. So this has been an ongoing process that we started in March with the board's direction. And I think you all ought to be quite proud of the fact that we took that step early on. We always were focused on getting our children back in school and doing things safely. I know from discussions with fellow superintendents and looking around at the districts around us, as Dr. Dorado mentioned, everyone doesn't have all the things we have because we were able to jump on it early, and that's kudos to Kevin and his team, and then implementing it all. Again, kudos to our CSEA team, our certificated team, everyone who has worked together to create everything that needed to be created for us to be in this position right now where we will have the opportunity to bring back our children as soon as it's safe to do so. And I know many people are anxious for that, and we are as well. But again, that presentation you saw today was really an update on a presentation we did many, many months ago on what we had proposed at that time. As Kevin talked about, we had pictures of stuff and Photoshop stuff in, and now it's come to fruition. So again, lots of people made that work. And related to the cafeteria, when Trustee Swan mentioned the cafeteria, the partition in the cafeteria, we will utilize the outdoors as much as possible for everything, but we have to be prepared for inclement weather as well. Again, depend upon the time of the year. Who knows what the weather's going to be like here, but in the event it is, who knows, from smoke to heat to rain, we have to be prepared. And if we do have to have children inside, we want to have those barriers to be able to socially distance. So Again, all of the steps we've taken have really been in the works for some time now. And the work that everyone has done to get it all in place. And I know as we're all out, because I know all board members are out visiting schools and seeing what's happening and what's in place. And here before our eyes over the last few weeks, it's all just like spring, right? Everything is all of a sudden beginning to flower. And the rooms are really ready for the most part. And hopefully that brings everyone a sense of confidence. But I still want to stress that everyone needs to keep in mind the fact that we are still in the midst of fighting this pandemic. So that doesn't mean we let our guard down. We put these guards up, but we don't let our guards down. And if we continue to move forward together and we all agree as a community on our collective behavior, we're going to be able to get our children and our staff back to school safely, as soon as possible. I'll write this weekend a little bit more about what's happening in my weekly message. So please, everyone, go ahead and read that. So we'll keep everybody current and in the loop. So with that, Madam President, back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Muzzarino. All right, is there anything else from the board? Okay, then with that, we're going to adjourn the board meeting at 7:35. And I'd like to thank everybody that joined us this evening, and I hope that you can join us again. Our next board meeting is October 8th, next 2 weeks from today, 2020. We'll start at 6 o'clock, and we hope you can join us. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful, wonderful 2 weeks. Thank you. Good night.